All right, let's check out this transformation construction. So my goal in this construction is to take segment P1, P2 and translate it according to vector AB. So the vector is showing me the direction and the distance. And so my answer, I know, is going to look something like that, because I just kind of watched that translate. So I have to use a construction tool to make this precise and not just a sketch. So the first thing I want to figure out is how far does each point have to travel? Well, they all have to travel the distance equal to my vector's length. So I'm going to measure the length of the vector. And point P has to travel that distance. And it's going to end up somewhere on this pink arc. And point P2 has to travel that same distance, so it belongs somewhere on that pink arc. So I know my green line belongs somewhere over here, but we don't know where. We need an intersection. The next thing I have to take care of is the direction piece. And for this piece, I sort of think of it like a parallelogram. I know that I'm going to connect, essentially I'm connecting P1 to A, and I'm going to measure that distance, and it has to be the same over here. So I'm trying to make these segments equal to each other to figure out where my point goes. So I'm going to measure from the beginning of my vector to my point. That shows me the distance from the beginning of the vector to the point. And I'm going to move, and notice when I'm moving my compass, I'm actually, the point of my pencil literally is P1. And I'm watching, where is P1 going? It stops. And I just watched it make that movement. So here's my intersection. Didn't draw my first circle quite large enough, but I have an intersection. And there is my P1 prime. Now I'm going to do the same thing for P2. I'm going to measure the length. So I put my point on the point I'm trying to translate. And now I'm going to drag my compass along that vector until I get to the image. Whoops. And I'm going to measure that distance. And I watched it. I was watching, like I'll just show you again. Here's P2. I'm literally translating it right now until I reach the end of my vector, and that shows me exactly where my point has to be. I put a dot there, and I label them P1 prime and P2 prime. Maybe white ink is not my best choice. P1 prime and P2 prime. And there's your translation. The last thing I need to do is, it was a segment, so I should connect my segment. And there's my translated image.